Hey guys, Jay here with Word of Advice TV, and this video is mostly for new HVACR technicians and apprentices, or maybe you're still going to school and you're wondering what tools you need to get for the HVAC trade. I've been asked multiple times to make a video like this, and I'm finally doing it. I compiled the list, and also, if you're watching this video and you're a technician that has many years under your belt, or maybe just a few years, regardless, it would be great if you could also provide your feedback in the comment section, what you think of this list. So as you're watching this video, if you see tools that are your favorites, that you think are definitely must have, it would be great if you could provide that feedback, which tools you definitely want to have. If you see some tools that are junk, or if you see tools which, you know a better brand for that tool, or if there's tools that are vital that I completely missed and that are not on that list, it'll be completely wonderful if you share with us your feedback in the comment section below. That will help me out a lot as I can edit that list with time, and it'll help out all of our new technicians. Thank you very much in advance. And before we start talking about all the tools on the list, there's 5 really important things that I want to mention. So number 1 is that there's 3 types of employers. The first type of employer, you have to provide your own tools completely. So all the hand tools and all the power tools you're providing on your own, they're only giving you the jobs. The second kind of employer, they provide the power tools and the meters, but you have to provide your own hand tools and your own tool bag. So the pliers, the wrenches, the nut drivers, the screwdrivers, you provide that, but they provide the vacuum pump, the recovery machine, combustion analyzers, the pressure testing meters, and all those other meters. You only provide the hand tools. And the third kind of employer, they completely give you all the tools. They don't want you to bring your own tools in. So they give you the hand tools, they give you the power tools and the meters, everything. So there is a chance when you start out, you won't even have to provide any tools at all. I just want to let you know that so you don't go and buy all these tools that you might not even need to have. And of course, if you're going to be working for yourself at some point, or if you're going to be doing jobs on the side, then of course you will need quite a few of these tools to have yourself. But any good HVAC technician should have at least his own hand tools on hand. And point number 2 is that there's a lot of tools on this list, and I did not find the cheapest prices on Amazon. I found the ones that are best rated, the brands that are good, they're good quality, and I did look through quite a bit of them. I tried to get the best deals, but they're definitely not the cheapest ones out there. There's way too many tools for me to do that. And frankly, Amazon is not the cheapest site out there either. They do have good deals, but places like Harbor Freight or eBay and other stores like those, there can be better deals over there. And point number 3 is, as you're watching this video, if you're taking notes, you're writing down tools, you're making a list of tools that you're going to get, or maybe you're adding tools to your shopping cart, if you come across tools and you're not sure if you're going to need them or not, my advice is don't get those tools. They're probably going to become dust collectors. As you're already out in the field, you started working, you're going to get a better idea of what tools you will need. So as you go along, then you can add those tools to your list. Otherwise, just start out with the basics and go from there. And point number 4 is that I will categorize all these tools into 3 categories. First category is must have. Every technician should have this tool. Number 2 is recommended. This tool is really nice to have, but you don't absolutely need to have it. And number 3 is optional. It's a convenient tool, but you don't have to have it. And number 5 is that this list has over 200 tools on it. So I will not be spending too much time on any single tool. Otherwise, this video will become a very long video. I'll try to be very brief on every single tool. So anyway, that is the 5 points I wanted to mention. So without further delay, let's just jump right in. I will share my computer screen with you, and let's just briefly go over every single tool that I have on this list and tell you if it's a must-have, recommended, or optional tool. So to begin with, you will click on the Amazon link of the list or the shop. I'll have that in the description of this video. It'll bring you to a page like this, and scroll down. The items that I added first are on the bottom. Those are the real essentials, the hand tools. So scroll all the way down. And that's a little too far down. We're going to start from the tool bags right here. A common question asked by new techs is, what's the best tool bag to get? And the simple answer for that is, there is no best tool bag. It's just to your own preference, or it depends on what job you're working on. For example, I have commercial HVAC buddies that climb on ladders and go on rooftops all the time. they enjoy the backpack style tool bag. That way they don't have to carry a tool bag as they're going up the ladder. There's also the suitcase style tool bags. There's the rolling tool bags, almost like a luggage bag with rollers and a handle. So if you walk a lot with your tool bag, this is a nice one to have. My personal favorites are these two styles right here, the square and the rectangle. I prefer this one a little bit more because it has more pockets and everything is open like that, so you can organize it and you can see it all in the open. It's very convenient. And then there's the bucket tool bag. I know there's quite a few maintenance guys that prefer the bucket tool bag just because you can fit so much stuff into it. So there's a lot of different kinds of tool bags. These are just a couple that I pulled up just to show you an example. But really, I mean, you're just gonna have to look at every tool bag and see what will best suit your needs, what your best or favorite tool bag will be. I really can't advise you on that. You're just gonna have to do trial and error until you pick out your favorite tool bag. So that's the tool bags. Moving on to the hand tools. By the way, as you hover across or over every single item, it gives you the name of it. So this one, for example, says nut driver, color code, magnetic nut driver set. So all of these screwdrivers and nut drivers are going to be Klein. And I think most HVAC technicians will agree with me that Klein makes some of the best hand tools out there as far as nut drivers and screwdrivers go. So this tool right here is one of the must-have tools. It's an 11-in-1 screwdriver. So if we open new tab here, here is this guy right here. It has all these bits in it. So it has a flathead, Phillips, torque, square, and hex. And over here you can see what it looks like inside. So this screwdriver is really handy to have, and I think just about every single HVAC technician I know has this Klein screwdriver in their tool bag. So this tool is definitely good to have. So must have right here. This is basically the same thing but a stubby version to get into tight spaces. It has two sizes of Phillips. It can be used as a nut driver, and it has two sizes of the flathead. So stubby version is also a must-have. Stubby nut drivers, 5/16 and 1/4 inch. Those are the two most common sizes in the HVAC field. These are a must-have. The long stem, 5/16 and 1/4 inch, also must-have. This one right here is optional, but basically what this guy is two of these nut drivers combined into one, and they're color-coded at the end. I really enjoy color-coded things. So basically, if you're limited on space, instead of having two nut drivers, you can have the one, and you can just flip them over. So it's a 2-in-1 convenience tool. And then we have a set of Klein nut drivers, different sizes. This one is recommended. It's nice to have all of these, but you don't absolutely need to have them. You could get away with other stuff. So that's a nice set by Klein. Let's scroll up further. We got the Phillips and the flathead, also made by Klein. These are really nice, and they're slightly different than regular Phillips and flatheads because they have the metal cap at the end, so you actually can hammer on them if you want to. So that's nice. They're very durable, they're magnetic, and you can hammer on them. Klein, like I said, makes some of the best hand tools out there. So these, I would say, are a must-have. This guy over here is optional. It's a Klein screwdriver with all these different kinds of bits, attachments that you can put in. There's torque, Phillips, there's hex, and many different sizes of them. So it's a 32-in-1 tool. Nice to have, but you don't have to have it. But this one right here is a must-have. This is a precision 4-in-1 screwdriver, so mainly for thermostats and just small little nuts and screws. This works very well for that. It basically has two small sizes of Phillips and two small sizes of flathead. So this guy right here is a must-have. And lately, I've been a really big fan of color-coded things. So every screwdriver right here has its own color. So you can just pick them out by a color instead of trying to look and see what tip it has. So that's very nice and convenient. This one right here is totally optional. It comes with a little bag as well. But this is a set of precision screwdrivers. So that's it for the screwdrivers and nut drivers. Moving on to the pliers. This right here is by far one of the favorite pliers out there. This is the Nipix Cobra pliers. There's a few different styles. This one right here is personally my favorite. Let's open this in a new tab and take a look. Where the adjustment lever is manual like that. I like this style because it's super easy to adjust. It doesn't get stuck. And the alligator jaws that are offset, That's actually a really nice feature. You can use this as a little pipe wrench when you're undoing gas pipes and stuff like that. It's a very nice pliers. This is the favorite pliers that I have in my tool bag. So that's that right there. Or some people actually like this one with the button. You press the button to adjust the jaw. So there is that style as well, but these tend to get stuck a little bit when you're adjusting them. I've had a pair of these before and I didn't like it as much. So the next time I lost them, I got this one instead because this one is just better for me. But it's up to you which one is your preference. One of these Knipex pliers is a must-have. Next up, we have just a lineman's plier. These are just heavy-duty pliers to crunch down on things, to twist wires together, or to snip wires off, or to pull out a tooth. Whatever you need them for, just heavy-duty pliers. Vice Grip, Irvin Vice Grip, they make really nice pliers too, and they're priced very nicely as well. Good quality and priced nicely. So this is a good pair of pliers. You do have to have a pair of lineman's pliers. They will save your bacon one day. So this is a must-have. I have 3 different brands that you can choose from. There's a ton of different brands out there, but these are just good quality, known brands. This one here is by Stanley, costs $3 more. And of course, the premium, the best ones, are by Knipex. They make the best pliers out there, but of course, the price is premium on them as well. So if you have the money, this is a really nice pair of pliers. Otherwise, there really is no necessity to have the best one, the premium one. A pair of the Vice Grip pliers is just fine, and it's great quality as well. So lineman's plier is a must-have. A needle nose pliers is a must-have as well. And I have 2 different kinds here. One is a Klein for 24 bucks. This is the one I have. It's a really nice pair of needle nose pliers. These are 7 inches long. And then this one here is by some generic brand, but they're also highly rated, nice needle nose pliers, and they have a little crimper to crimp electrical connectors with if you need to. So another nice pair of pliers, and both of them have little wire cutters on the inside of them as well. So having a needle nose pliers is a must-have. Needle nose pliers that are angled at the end, these are recommended. You can get away without them, but for hose clamps in awkward spaces, these are really nice to have. This one right here is an 11-inch, a large, heavy-duty pair of pliers. I have one of these, and it works really well for me. So you don't absolutely have to have it, but it is nice to have, angled needle nose pliers. And of course, we have the Knipex set, the long needle nose pliers, the straight and the angled, but these guys right here cost an arm and a leg compared to this. This one's 9 bucks, and I think this pair right here is 90 bucks. So Knipex is really expensive. I just add them in here because they are the best brand for pliers. Moving on, we have the side cutters, just to cut off wires and big cables and other stuff like that. Once again, the Irvin Vice Grip pliers are a really nice deal. They're good quality, and they're priced good as well. This is a nice pair of side cutters. Here's another option for 16 bucks, so it's a little more expensive. It's a generic brand, but it's highly rated, and it also comes with a crimper and a wire stripper. So it acts as a side cutter and a wire stripper, which is kind of nice. So if we look at the picture right here, you can strip wires, you can crimp wires right over there, and use it as a side cutter. So a nice little tool. And of course, Knipex has the most expensive side cutters on this list, but they are the best brand for pliers, so I put them in here. Next up, we have wire strippers. Every technician must have at least one pair of wire strippers. You are going to need this tool for sure. This one here is by Channel Lock. It's highly rated. Or if you get, for example, this side cutter right here, this one comes with the wire stripper and the crimper on it right away. So it's like a 2-in-1. But you do have to have a pair of side cutters and a pair of wire strippers for sure. Or you can get a combination thing like this. And moving on, we have a set by Klein, and it's even called an apprentice tool set. And this is a nice set, totally optional, but it gives you all these pieces in one. You're going to get a flathead and a Phillips screwdriver, a needle nose, a lineman's plier, a side cutters, and a wire stripper all in one set. So this is a pretty quality set. And as you can see, it has a 5-star rating out of 130 ratings. So it is really nice, and you can get all those pieces right away. Moving on, we have the Vice Grip locking pliers. These are highly recommended. You don't have to absolutely have them, but I suggest you do. It's almost like having a third hand if you really do need them. You clamp these things on, you lock them, and it's almost like you have a third hand holding something and you have your other hands free. So a pair of locking pliers is very good to have. Highly recommended, but you probably can get away without having them. Next up, we have pipe wrenches. This one here is by Vice Grip, and here is the one by Rigid. Rigid is supposedly the best brand for pipe wrenches, but this Vice Grip one is really good quality as well, and it costs a lot less. This one's 14 bucks, this one's 41 bucks. But every HVAC technician must have, I would say, a pair of pipe wrenches. So 2 pipe wrenches. By the way, those Nipix pliers, it helps to have a pair of those as well. Because whenever you're taking apart pipes, you have to have 2 pliers when you're taking them apart. One to hold it and one to twist. And moving on, we have the 8-inch adjustable crescent wrench with the flat jaws. This is also a must-have tool. Every technician should at least have one adjustable wrench, or better yet, have a set of them of different sizes. So for example, this guy right here, this is a set, but not of wrenches. This is a set of wrenches. You got 4 different sized wrenches adjustable. This, for example, would be a nice set to have for 32 bucks. Usually in my tool bag, I have the large one and I have the small one. And these I just keep on the truck. Or you can have all 4 of them. They're nice to have. So this is recommended, but having at least one of them is a must-have. Having a set will help at one point. This set right here is by a generic brand, but they're highly rated as well for 23 bucks, so it's a little bit cheaper than this one right here. And this set is a nice set by Vice Grip, and it comes with all the pliers you're going to need. It has the side cutters, adjustable small pliers, lineman's pliers, adjustable wrench, and then the adjustable alligator pliers right here. So this is a nice little set by Vice Grip. 5-star rating on these. It's a nice toolkit, comes with this little pouch that you can carry them in as well. And moving on, we have the refrigeration wrench, the ratcheting wrench with the little adapter. This is mostly for air conditioner, for king valves and service valves. You can also use this little adapter for the gas valve port on a furnace. But every HVAC technician must have this refrigeration wrench. This is totally a must-have. It's a great tool to have. Next down the list, we have a fuse puller. This thing is completely plastic. So for disconnects on the air conditioner outside, if you're pulling those cartridge fuses out, this puller right here works very well for that. I have one of these in my tool bag and I use it quite often. It works very nicely to pull those fuses out. So this guy right here is recommended, but you don't absolutely have to have it. Next up, we have tin snips. These are must-have. Every HVAC technician at one point or another is going to have to cut some sheet metal. These are left-handed and right-handed snips. This is a nice set by Midwest, and they're the best brand for snips as far as I know. They're really nice. These are highly rated. It's a good set to have. So this is a must-have. And these guys right here are just 90-degree snips, and they come in handy sometimes. It's recommended to have this, but you don't have to have it. 90-degree snips. I actually have a pair of these, and I do use them once in a while. And then there's also tin scissors. So you can cut through sheet metal with scissors. So if you have long cuts to make, these are nice to have. Alright, let's move along. Next up, we have PVC cutters. If you need to cut some PVC pipes, this is a good cutter to have. This is totally optional. You can use a hacksaw or maybe a sawzall to cut it instead. This is just more convenient. So optional. Having a tubing cutter or a pipe cutter like this one's for close quarters, is, I would say, must have. Every technician should at least have this guy right here to cut small pipes. This one is highly recommended to cut larger diameter pipes. And this one over here is just for very large diameter pipes, so you can cut them open with this tubing cutter. So this is a must-have, recommended, and this one I suppose would be optional. So tubing cutters, Rigid makes one of the best tubing cutters out there, so I only have Rigid for all 3 of them. And after you cut the pipe, you have to get rid of the burr, or basically the sharp edges of the pipe that are left inside of there. This is highly recommended. I guess you can get away without it. You could try using a knife or maybe a flathead screwdriver, but this deburring tool gets rid of those little shards real easily. So having a tool like this is very handy. I would highly recommend it, but you don't absolutely have to have it. And moving along, we have a mini magnetic ratchet. This thing is really great to have. and actually it's color coded, which makes me love it even more. All these different little bits have a different color to them, which is nice. And it's magnetic and it's ratcheting. So for close quarters, so you don't have to do like a 1/8 of a turn with a wrench, take out the wrench, put it back in, and do that over and over and over again. For close quarters, a ratcheting little wrench like this really saves the day. You don't absolutely have to have it, but it is highly recommended. Good tool to have. Allen wrenches, this is metric and SAE, or inches. You do have to have a set of wrenches. This is a good set to have by Tecton. It's 16 bucks, and I think every technician must have a set of Allen wrenches because you will need them. And once again, because I really enjoy color-coded stuff, here's a color-coded set of Allen wrenches. So if you're anything like me, I always tend to pick out the wrong wrench, the wrong size. But if it's color-coded, you'll always know that it's the red wrench for the gas valve, the orange one for this, and the blue one for the blower wheel, or whatever. So nice to have them color-coded, but totally optional. These guys over here are optional as well. These are just long T-handle Allen wrenches. The few times that I've used them, I think most of the time I end up using them on a package unit where the AC and the furnace are in one. That blower wheel, you can't reach that set screw with a regular Allen wrench. It just doesn't reach it. So you either have to use a drill or one of these T-handle wrenches to reach it. You rarely use these things, but when you do, they really save the day. I will say these are optional though, because you can get away with just a drill and put a hex bit into the drill bit with like a 12-inch extension, and you could probably get away with that instead. These are optional, but good to have. Oops, I accidentally reloaded the page and everything got realigned. But anyway, moving on, we have wrenches. I think this one is a must-have. Every technician should have a set of wrenches. You can either get classic wrenches like this, just normal wrenches, a set of them, or there's also ratcheting wrenches. These are a little cheaper because they're metric, and most technicians prefer the inches or the SAE instead. That's why this one is $102, for example, even though they're essentially the same thing. This is a nice set of wrenches right here. Or if you want to get the really premium quality set of ratcheting wrenches that are also color-coded, which I think is really great, this is the set right here. This is the best quality ratcheting set that I could find. So the ratcheting wrenches are optional, but you do have to have a set of wrenches, either ratcheting or just normal wrenches like this. And on the left here, we have just a regular socket set with a ratchet. This, I think every technician should have as well. Sometimes you need a deep socket, and this really saves the day. So having a ratchet set like this with the deep sockets is good to have. I would say that it's either highly recommended or a must-have right over here. And moving along, we have a Milwaukee drill. A lot of technicians like this drill, including myself. I have one of these too. It's a great little drill. It does not have a fast spin speed, which for HVAC is actually a good thing. It comes with 2 batteries and a charger, and it's nice and small. So this drill right here is really good. It's highly rated, but if not this drill, then some other drill. But every technician should have a drill in their toolkit. This over here is recommended, but you don't have to have it. And this is a Milwaukee, it's called a hacksaw. So it's like a mini sawzall, and it uses the same battery as this drill right here. So it's nice to have both of these as a set, and you can interchange the batteries between the two of them. But a mini sawzall like this is really handy to have to cut off shafts off of motors, for example, or just to cut through any pipes, PVC pipes, or whatever else you have to cut through. So this guy right here, a drill, if not this one, then some other brand, is a must-have. A little mini sawzall like this is highly recommended, but you can get away without it. You can just get a normal hacksaw, and that will work just as fine. It does not come with any blades though, so you do have to get some blades separate. And these blades right here that I picked out, they're for wood and metal demolition. They just basically work as a multi-purpose for everything blade. And moving on, we have a drill bit set. This is a must-have for every technician as well. At one point or another, you will have to have a drill bit like this to drill some hole. This is a must-have set. Even if you don't use it very often, you should have one of these on your truck. Over here, it's a drill bit set with different kind of bits. You got Phillips, torque, square, hex, all these different kind of bits for your drill. A set like this is highly recommended, but you don't absolutely have to have it. It is very convenient to have. Moving on, we have a step drill bit set, and this is basically a little drill bit that you can put on your drill, and it acts as a multi-drill bit. So you have all these different sizes crammed into one bit. So it's very convenient, and you don't have to have this whole case with you all the time. Sometimes you do need to drill a deep hole though, and you have to have this set. You're not going to get away with one of these. But for most purposes, these can handle anything that you have to drill through, any hole that you need to make. But this guy right here, I would say is optional. You don't have to have it, but it is nice to have, and it comes with a little pouch. And next, we have a magnetic hex nut driver master kit. This is recommended. You don't have to have it for your drill, but it's definitely nice to have. It has all the different size of nuts and bolts that you're probably going to come across, or the nut drivers, I should say. So anything for your drill, for blower motors, for inducer motors, anything with bigger bolts, maybe on the air conditioner, this is good to have for your drill so you don't have to do it manually. So a set like this is recommended, but you don't have to have it. This guy right here is optional, but it's super convenient. I would recommend getting it. This is the Malco flip bit. So you put this into your drill, and you can flip just this little piece at the end, which makes it a really quick change between 1/4 inch and 5/16. So it's very convenient, and this one right here is the same as that, it just has a 4-inch extension on it. So both of them, very convenient to have, but they are optional, as is this one right here by DeWalt. This is a 6-inch extension, but the outside sleeve does not spin, so you can hold it while you're using your drill. So I have all 3 of these. They're nice to have, but they are optional. Moving along, we have a 12-inch extension. I would say this is actually a must-have, and this one by Milwaukee is slim, so it fits into tight spaces as well. But having a 12-inch extension will save your day at one point. I would say that every technician must have this guy right here. I would also say this is somewhere between highly recommended to a must-have. This is the flexible drill bit extension. So as you can see, you can bend it like that. Every technician should have that one as well. This one is highly recommended. It's a 105-degree angled bit holder. So for tight spaces, you can use this with your drill. This one right here is generic, but it works just fine. If you do want something of better quality, DeWalt also makes one of these, and it's a 90-degree bend adapter for your drill, and it works really good. You don't have to have one of these, but I would highly recommend it. It's a really good tool to have. Moving on, we have electrical meters for checking voltages, amps, resistance, and all of that. Multimeters are essential. Every technician has to have a multimeter in their tool bag. I personally like the UEI multimeters. There's 2 of them right here. If you don't really like UEI, I have a few different brands listed here as well. Other favorites of other technicians. Here's one by Amp Probe. There's 2 meters by Fluke. This one you can connect to your phone, which is kind of a cool feature. I have this Fluke meter as well, and I can vouch for that one. It is a nice meter. And then there's one by Fieldpiece as well, also a good meter. Multimeters are kind of like tool bags. You just have to try a couple different kinds and see which one you like the most. Moving on, we have the voltage pen or voltage detector. I think every technician must have one of these as well in their pocket. You don't always have the meter on you, but you do have a voltage pen. So for example, if you wanted to check if an outlet has power, you can easily do so with the voltage pen. You don't have to take your meter out. So it's nice to have. I would say this is a must-have. Next up is the psychrometer. This measures the humidity and the wet bulb in the air, a digital psychrometer. If you will be working on air conditioners, you do have to have a psychrometer. So this guy right here is a must-have. Next, we have the anemometer. This is to measure CFM or airflow. These guys are highly recommended. You could probably get away without having one, but in some jobs you do have to have it. So this is just to measure the airflow to see if you have proper airflow, or CFM, cubic feet per minute. This little anemometer is only 27 bucks and it works very well. The ratings are really high. This one is a little better quality, but it's $74. So these guys, recommended, but you don't have to have them. And moving on, we have the dual port manometer. This one is by UEI. I have this one and it works very, very well for checking pressure switches or checking gas pressures and adjusting and stuff. This one comes as a kit. It comes with the little pitot tubes. You can check static pressure. It comes with the little T fittings, so you can tee into pressure switches to see what they're pulling. Comes with batteries and all the different tubing. This kit right here is very good to have. I would say that this is a must-have for new technicians. This manometer right here is definitely a good thing to have. And next up, we have a pressure switch tester by Fieldpiece. It's very convenient to check pressure switches with, but you don't have to have it. This guy right here is optional. Next, we have the inspection camera. I think every technician should have an inspection camera, either one like this or maybe something that attaches to your phone, but you do have to have one of these to inspect heat exchangers. And these guys right here are carbon monoxide detectors to see if there's any CO in the air. Most likely you won't need these. These are optional because you're going to have a combustion analyzer either way. That one can measure CO in the air if you need to. So these are nice to have, just standalone CO detectors, but they're not mandatory. These two are optional. Next is a combustion analyzer, and this will probably be the most expensive thing that you will buy out of your tools if you're going to buy yourself a combustion analyzer. One of the best ones are made by Testo. Here's 1, 2, and 3, and as you can see, the prices jump quite a bit with the different models. This one's $618, this one's $1,399, and this one's over $2,000. You almost have to take out a loan to buy one of these. So if we click on them, I mean, the most expensive one, it is really nice. The purpose of the combustion analyzer is to check the flue pipe, basically the gases going out the vent of a furnace or a water heater, and see if the levels are normal. So it measures oxygen, carbon monoxide, the efficiency, carbon dioxide, the stack temperature, and the ambient temperature. So this is a really nice meter. The digital display, the big one like that, is really nice to have. So the prices on these things are pretty steep, so I would suggest doing some research before you buy one of these. Make sure that you're getting a good one. Like I said, the ones by Testo are good. This one will cost you an arm and a leg. This one's just one arm. Well, and this one might be a couple of fingers or something. So these Testo analyzers are nice, and even though the prices are steep, compared to the other brands out there, they're actually not that expensive. There's some brands that go up to $4,000 or $5,000 per piece. And moving on, we have scales. So whenever you're using refrigerant, if you're charging a condenser unit, an air conditioner, you do have to weigh how much you put in. So I've been using a digital scale like this for a while, but since last year, I started using a fish scale like this, and I will never go back. A fish scale works a lot better, it's more accurate and easier to use than a digital scale like this, and it's a lot cheaper too to weigh refrigerant bottles. So there's one like this or one like this. I have this style right here, and it's been working very well. I hang it on the top of my van. There's like a little notch, where both doors open or clamp onto. I can hang that there, weigh my refrigerant tank, and all is good. But if you don't like these fish scales, there are digital scales like this, and this one right here is super expensive, but supposedly the best one out there, made by Fieldpiece. Having a scale, either a fish scale or a digital scale like this, is a must-have. You do have to have something that you can weigh refrigerant bottles with. Next up, we have manifold gauges with hoses, or a gauge set. And personally, I work the most with 410A and R22, so I just like to make sure that my gauges have both of those on them. Preferably, you want to have a separate gauge for each refrigerant. So you want to have a manifold gauge for R22, a set for R22, and one for 410A. You have to have them both separate because 410A has POE oils, R22 does not. You don't really want to be mixing the two of them. I know some technicians that do that anyway. They use one gauge set for everything, and it seems like they're not having any problems, or so they say, but really you should be having separate gauges. So here's a couple by Yellow Jacket. They're really nice. Yellow Jacket makes some of the best gauges out there. So I put a few different kinds of Yellow Jacket gauges on here. So having a gauge set, at least one of them, is mandatory. You must have at least one. This is some thread sealant. When you're putting these little gauges in, if you're going to be replacing them, or sometimes they leak, putting in some of this thread sealant will stop the leaks almost every time. This sealant is highly rated. It's the best stuff out there. And if you're a big spender, they also have digital gauges out there that you can use. There's one by Testo right here and one by Fieldpiece that have a digital display, helps you calculate the superheat and subcooling, measures the pressures and everything like that. They cost an arm and a leg, but they are really nice. I have a friend that has this Fieldpiece right here, and he can't say enough good things about it. So these things are optional. A digital gauge is optional, but if you're a big spender and you want to have something nice, these things are great and they work very good. And there's a couple of different hoses that you can get for your gauges. There's fittings that have ball valves at the end of the hoses. I really like the ball valve fittings, so you can turn them off and there's no refrigerant coming out. There's also low loss fittings. The ones by JB Industries are the best. They don't allow a lot of refrigerant to spurt out when you're taking them off. My typical setup on my gauges is my high side, which has the highest pressure, is a low loss fitting, and then I have a ball valve and a ball valve for the blue or the low side, and then for the yellow, also a ball valve. These hoses that have the ball valve fittings and the low loss fittings are optional / recommended. They're really good to have, but you can get away with just regular fittings. And then there's also the separate fittings or the coupling that you can put on. You can just screw it right into the hose, so you don't have to buy the whole entire hose. You could just buy the separate fitting. I have one of these just in case there's an air conditioner that has a tight space and I have a really hard time trying to put my hose on there. I just put that coupler on there so it makes a sharp turn, and then I put my gauges onto that little fitting that I put on. And I also know some technicians that don't even bring their gauges with them to an air conditioner if they're just checking pressures. All they bring is 2 of these gauges, a high side and a low side, and they have this Ritchie quick coupler connection. So this goes right onto the port on the air conditioner, and they screw one of these gauges into here. So instead of having a gauge set with the manifold, they just literally have 2 of these things, and that's how they check their pressures. If everything is good, they take them off. This almost acts like a low loss fitting, so barely any refrigerant escapes. They check the pressures. If all is good, they take them off and they're good to go. They never even had to carry their gauges with them. This setup is totally optional, but it is pretty convenient. This guy over here, it just helps charge the liquid low side, like on 410A for example. You have to charge it through the low side as a liquid, and you can't fully open up your gauge, otherwise you're going to flood the system. This thing right here, after you put this on, you can fully open up your gauge and it converts that liquid into a vapor. Just read the description or look it up online to know more info about that. But this thing is really good to have. It's recommended, but you can get away without it. You can just throttle the charge in. Next up, we have the super cool slide rule. This helps you charge an air conditioner, either using superheat or subcooling. It has all the calculators needed for that. This chart right here is really good to have. All the technicians I know have this chart right here. You do want to get one of those. I would say that's a must-have. They also have a phone app, by the way, which works very well. This is a core removal tool. So to remove those little Schrader valves from air conditioners, gotta have one of these. I would say that's a must-have. A thermometer, a probe thermometer by UEI. I have 2 of these. I lose them a lot, so I end up buying more. This is a must-have. I would recommend even getting 2 of them to check the supply temperatures and the return temperatures in the furnace. You can stick both of them in at the same time. UEI also has a foldable option like this. So it's basically the same probe thermometer, but you can fold it up. That's optional. And this one's optional as well. If your multimeter has a K-type input jack, you can also plug this in and use it as a probe thermometer with your meter instead of having one of these. I actually do have one of these as well, and I use that as a backup if I lose my regular probe thermometers. And then there's temperature guns. These are really nice to have as well. So whatever you shoot this little laser at, it tells you the temperature of it. Very convenient, but this is an optional tool. Over here we have pipe clamps to measure the temperature of the pipes. This is to measure superheat and subcooling. You must have a pipe clamp, at least one. Or I suppose if you have a temp gun, like this guy right here, you could just measure the temperature with your gun. But it's a lot easier to do it with your gauges, so most technicians do prefer using a pipe clamp for that. And like I said, you must have at least one pipe clamp. Low voltage alligator test leads. This, I would say, is somewhere between highly recommended to a must-have. You could just use a regular piece of wire to jumper things out and test them, but these low voltage alligator clips work very well for testing. Or if you don't like all these multicolored stuff, you can get a set that's a little more expensive and supposedly a little better quality that is just black and red for 17 bucks. There's also magnetic jumpers. So for thermostats, these work very well. Instead of alligators, they have little magnets at the end. They are more expensive, These I would say are optional. And moving up the list, we got the magnetic tray. Highly recommended, never lose a screw again. I use one of these all the time. I just throw it in my tool bag, and whenever I'm taking out screws, I can put them in here. And a knife. Every technician should have at least one knife on them. It definitely will come in useful. This one right here is a duct knife. One end is serrated, so for flexible duct, this is great to cut those with. And then the other side is just a regular knife you can use for anything. I know a lot of HVAC technicians love this knife right here. This knife over here is also a favorite. It's a foldable knife. And this is just a regular folding utility knife. But if you want something a little bit more fancy, here's a multi-tool that acts as a wrench, a knife, and it has bits and all kinds of different cool stuff. So if you want something a little fancier for a pocket knife, you could get one of these. Moving on, we have electrical connectors. I don't think you'll regret getting these. These are just highly recommended. You could just go to a hardware store and buy little packs of these instead. But I would suggest getting a whole pack of them. At one point of time, you probably will have a use for all these different connectors. This is a big piece, comes with the box, 480 pieces of different electrical connectors. Here's a different set. Here's one with butt connectors, a variety of different butt connectors. But in the field, I usually use the 1/4-inch spade connectors the most, along with these prong type crimp connectors. So these two are the most common. All of this right here is recommended, but as you're working in the field, you're going to figure out what you need. So you don't absolutely need to get any of this stuff until later on. Moving on, wire nuts. I think wire nuts would be a must-have. I would recommend getting a box of an assortment of wire nuts. You will definitely use them. So that's a must-have. And getting different sheet metal screws, a set of different sheet metal screws, I would say that's a must as well. You should have sheet metal screws. You're definitely going to use them. Electric tape, must have. Different colored electric tape, optional. Sheet metal tape, must have. Zip ties, must have. Multicolored zip ties, I love it. Totally optional. And I also remembered about fuses. These cartridge fuses are used for disconnects outside by the air conditioner. If they burn out, it's really nice to have extras. The common sizes are 20 amp, 25 amp, and 30 amp fuses. This is a set of 2 of each. I would recommend having at least a couple of each one of these sizes on your truck so you can quickly replace them if you need to, so you don't have to go to a hardware store. 3 amp fuses and 5 amp fuses for furnace control boards. You should have a set of these as well. This is somewhere between must-have to recommended. You should have a set of 3 amp and 5 amp fuses on your truck or in your bag. A flashlight. This is my favorite kind of flashlight right here, made by Clip Light, camouflage. It almost works like a lamp or a lantern. It has a hook and powerful magnets, and it's nice and bright, but it works more like an area light, so I would recommend having a regular flashlight as well to go with that one if you need to shine somewhere far. And some technicians prefer headlamps, so I have one of those in here as well. So you must have at least one flashlight in your tool bag. Which one you pick, that's up to you. Next up, we have an awl. I would say an awl is an optional tool to scratch sheet metal or to mark sheet metal with. You could probably use something else instead of it. So this is optional, but a lot of HVAC technicians will have that. Here's another tool, which might be a little bit better than the awl, actually. It has a scribe, and it acts as a telescoping magnet grabber as well. So if you lost a screw or something, you can go and get it. And the other side unscrews, and you have a little scribe, which you could use a little bit like an awl or a scratcher. And here's an example of that. So, magnet grabber slash scribe. Next up, we have an inspection mirror. You must have an inspection mirror of some sort in your bag. Here's just a regular inspection mirror, and then there's one with lights around it. So when you stick the mirror into a dark place, you can turn the lights on and you can still see what's going on inside of there. You must have an inspection mirror, and this guy is optional, but it's a mini or a slim inspection mirror, telescoping, that you can put in your pocket. I have one of these and it works great. I would recommend everybody have one of these as well, because these bulky ones don't always fit into tight spaces. This one does. Moving on, we have a level. A level is recommended, but you don't absolutely have to have it, especially since now you can get a bubble level app on your phone, and you can use your smartphone as a level. But having a level is a good thing. A hammer, once again, recommended, but you don't have to have a hammer. I guess you could use a crescent wrench or a pipe wrench as a hammer if you really needed to. And here's a mini or a stubby hammer. This one works really great for tight spaces. It's basically exactly what it sounds like, just a mini or a stubby hammer. And there's a variety of gloves that you can choose from. Every technician should have at least one pair of some type of safety gloves. I have these two pairs right here. A couple of these, they usually come in a pack of 3. These are nice gloves, they're light. You still retain the dexterity in your fingers. And these, I typically use the padded gloves if there's really sharp objects, or if it's cold outside, kind of helps with that as well. And if you're going to be clearing out mice nest from air conditioners, having these disposable gloves is really helpful. You don't have to get your hands into all that nastiness. These are optional, but I would have a box of disposable gloves on your truck as well. Next up, we have a tape measure. Tape measure is a must-have. You should have at least one tape measure in your tool bag. Here's just 2 different options that I put in here. And if you're a big spender, there's also a laser tape measure, which is a pretty nifty little tool. Instead of using a classical tape measure, it just uses a laser pointer to tell the distance. A putty knife, just for the spaces where a flathead screwdriver will not go in. Sometimes you have to pry something apart. A putty knife is really helpful. I wouldn't say this thing is a must-have, but it is highly recommended. A brush like this, just to brush different stuff off. I would say this is a must-have with the firm thistles on it. Must-have. Brass brush, must-have. A brush like that for a drill. This is optional, but it is nice to have as well. A zoom spout oiler to oil motors, blower motors, and inducer motors. This little spout comes out, and it can reach to, hard to reach spaces if you need to, and oil the motor. This is a must-have. A hub puller. If you can't pull a blower wheel off of a motor, this is extremely nice to have. A wonderful tool. It will definitely save your day. I think every technician must have a hub puller like this. If you don't have a lighter laying around in your home, and there's none in your gas station, or maybe they're ridiculously priced, you can get a pair like this on Amazon. A long shaft lighter. This one's flexible, this one's just straight. Everybody should have at least one lighter in their tool bag to relight pilots or light something else. So having a lighter is a must-have. And then we have Craig's book, the guy that runs AC Service Tech channel. It's a really great book. It has all the different service procedures for how to evacuate a system, how to pull a vacuum, how to recharge a unit, how to recover it, how to properly charge it, etc., step by step. This book is optional, but for new guys, I think this would be a great resource. And because a condenser unit will not wash itself, and the customer doesn't always have a hose available for you, every technician must have a garden hose in their truck to wash down condenser units or wash down something else. So this is just a little set I found on Amazon. It's a retractable hose, 50 foot long, doesn't take a lot of room, comes with a nozzle and a bag that you can carry it in. Very convenient. This is optional, but you must have a hose on your truck. Moving on, we have the 3 amp mini popper for tracking down low voltage shorts. This is highly recommended / must have. I think every technician should have one of these. If not this, then at least this little guy right here. It's $5 instead of $15, but it does not come with the wires. So instead of blowing 3 amp fuses, this little breaker trips as you're trying to track down that short. Like I said, with this one, you'll have to put the wires on yourself. The little popper over here comes with the wires already on it. And if you don't want metal knees in your 50s, then you must have a kneeling pad of some sort. I recommend this Leathercraft one by CLC right here. This kneeling pad is really great, and it does not absorb moisture. This one is pretty much the same thing, costs a little less, but the size of it is also a little smaller. Just another option, even though I would recommend this one. And some guys like to actually wear knee pads, either over the pants or under the pants, the whole time while they're at work. So those are the knee pad options. Safety glasses, because you only have one pair of eyes and you don't have any spares. Every technician must have a pair of safety glasses. A baseball cap, even though this is not must have, but I would highly recommend wearing a baseball cap while you're on the job. I can't tell you how many times I smashed my head into a drip leg on a gas line, and it would have totally gashed my head open if I didn't have a baseball cap. And the one that I have listed here, even though it looks like a regular hat, you must wonder why is it 30 bucks? And that's because this one is like a hard hat. If you look inside of it, as you can see, it has that hard hat material inside of it. So you're definitely not going to make any holes in your head wearing this cap. So good to have. You don't have to have it, but highly recommended. Plus, another upside is that you don't have to worry about your hairdo while you have one of these bad boys on. Moving on the list, a first aid kit, must have. At one point or another, you're going to cut yourself. You're going to bleed if you have blood in you. This is definitely something you have to have, a first aid kit, because you will inevitably end up hurting yourself at one point or another. Have to have a first aid kit. And this right here is a locking caps multi-key tool. There's been a rise of refrigerant huffers, people that huff refrigerant and get high off of it, or there's people that just steal refrigerant. So more and more companies are starting to put locking caps on condenser unit ports where the refrigerant hoses hook up, and you do have to have this special key to take those caps off. So I would say this is a must-have. Every technician should have a key like this, a multi-key, to be able to take off those locking caps if you come across them. And once again, I refreshed the page and things got shifted a little bit. But moving on, step ladder. I think this is a must-have. Every technician must have a step ladder on their truck, because at one point or another, you will have to have a little step ladder to get to somewhere. So this one right here is 39 bucks. You can buy this on Amazon, but any bigger ladders, I would definitely not recommend buying on Amazon, even though you might need those, because the shipping costs on those will make that ladder just ridiculously expensive. You're better off just going to a local store and buying a ladder if you need it. Step ladders are still okay to buy on Amazon, but even those, you're probably better off just going to Walmart and buying one of these there. And the next one was a suggestion from a commercial HVAC tech that's been stranded on a rooftop a couple times, and that is a ladder lock. If it's a windy day, your ladder may get blown over and fall over. These ladder locks will definitely prevent that. So lock the ladder in place so it doesn't get blown away by the wind or knocked over by something. There's a few different styles of these ladder locks for gutters and for other applications, but if you're going to be going on rooftops often with ladders, then getting a ladder lock is a must. And the next set is recommended, but you don't have to have it, and that is a hole saw kit. And that's exactly what it sounds like. In sheet metal or other metals, this thing will basically drill out a nice, clean-looking hole or circle in whatever surface that you're drilling through. And this right here is a two-piece bolt cutter set. This is an optional tool, but it's very useful if you have to ever bite off some big bolts. They will cut it clean off. Convenient tool, but totally optional. And this is a rivet tool kit. It is recommended to have this, although this is more for install work than service. It is only 10 bucks, so it's a good tool kit to have. And it's pretty much the same story with this guy right here, a flaring tool. This is recommended to have, but if you're an install technician, you have to have this. This is a must-have. If you're going to be doing any install work, you do have to have a flaring tool. This black eccentric flaring tool is really nice. It comes with a cutter and a deburring tool as well. And it has really great reviews. Yellow Jacket also has one, which is nice, highly rated. It's just another option. And the next 5 tools are primarily for install work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 3-inch bender. You got a 6-inch bender, and then 12-inch folding tool, 18-inch, and 24-inch. The next 2 tools are also primarily for install work. This guy right here is a snap lock punch. Basically joins sheet metal together. And this is a V-notcher. It bites out a V-notch shaped in sheet metal. So for example, let's just take a look. That's what it would look like. So it bites a piece like that out. So if you're going to be working with sheet metal, this little tool is definitely handy to have. This guy right here is a cable tensioner. So if you're going to be working with flexible ducts and you have those big zip ties, this thing tenses up those zip ties and gets them on there nice and tight. You can't do that with your hands. You do need to have one of these to tighten it down really good. Next up we have the torch, a turbo torch kit. This is a must-have for installers for sure, and highly recommended for service guys. you have to get an acetylene tank from one of your local gas distributors, and then once you run out, you go back to them and they can refill that tank. So this kit comes with a regulator, comes with 2 different tips. It's a very nice kit by TurboTorch. I know a lot of guys like this one. And here's a sparker to start that torch or to light it. You got a nitrogen regulator. You do need to pressure test new installs. So if you're going to be doing new installs, you're going to have some nitrogen tanks, and this is the regulator that goes on it. That's a must-have for that. If you're going to be doing any kind of soldering or brazing, you're going to need the following 3. This right here is a silver solder with flux. You got sulfus for brazing, and then there's aluminum braze if you're going to be soldering aluminum to aluminum or copper. So all 3 of these are needed for that. We also have pipe benders. This is a really good pipe bender. It's a 3-in-1 triple tube bender. Very nice to have. Or you can go with a complete set by Yellow Jacket. And actually, let's take a quick look of what's inside of there, because they only show us the suitcase. So yeah, you got the ratchet and you got the different tube benders right there. Very good kit by Yellow Jacket. And as you can see, 4.5 ratings out of 100 ratings. I know a lot of guys like the Yellow Jacket benders. And here, of course, just because I love color-coded stuff, pretty much the same kit, but all the different benders are different colors, so you can easily identify which one you need. Next up is a swedge punch kit with the 5 separate swedge punches. This is a must-have for any install work to make those swedge joints. And this one right here by Yellow Jacket is basically a combination of all of these punches in one. So it's a convenient little tool. And because both of these don't have any of the bigger sizes, there is 2 separate punches that go up to 3/4 inch, and this is 7/8 inch. So if you're going to be doing install work, this one right here, must have. You got to have one of these. You have to have a flaring tool kit. You have to have a bender, or even better, a bender kit. You got to have all the solders, the benders, the regulators. You have to have a torch. There's quite a bit of tools that are pretty much install specific tools. You don't really use them for service. So let's go back up where we left off. Right over here. This right here is pretty cool. It's a swedging tool. So like this, like the punch. This one right here, you would have to hammer it into the pipe. Whereas these guys, you have all these different sizes. And what I really like is that they're color coded. You know me, I like the color coded stuff. You just put this into your drill and it spins and makes that swedge joint for you. Instead of you having to hammer it in, you can just drill it into that and it works really slick. A lot of people love these things. Or you could just get this expensive kit right here, the copper tube expander tool. Basically does the same thing as all of this, the swedging tools, but you have this gun looking thing, or this plier looking thing. You stick it into a pipe, you press down, and it expands it for you. Very slick tool. I know a lot of technicians love this thing as well, but it is a little spendy compared to those little punches. And over here, we have a comb kit to comb condenser units outside. I don't really like combing units because they look really mangled after you're done with them. But if the fins are all bent in and smashed in, you do have to comb them, and this is a good kit for that. Moving on, we have caps for refrigerant ports. Sometimes you come to an air conditioner and they're just plain missing. You can put some of those on, because if there is no caps during the winter, it probably will leak a little bit. So all air conditioners should have these valve caps on them. And this over here is a core removal tool on the tip right here. And it also is a container tool, so it has a few of those extra cores in it. So if you come across one that's leaking, you can replace it. Over here is a bunch of Schrader valve cores with Teflon seals on them, a pack of 25. And this guy right here is the valve core removal tool. It works very nice. You can remove the core with it and put a new one in without having to release any charge or a vacuum. A lot of technicians love this thing. I would recommend getting one. And next up, we have vacuum pumps. This one is by CPS Products. This one is by JB Industries. Of course, this one is better, but it also costs quite a bit more, coming in at $354, whereas this one is $184. Both pumps work well, but of course, this one is slower. This one is 3 CFM, whereas this one is 6 CFM. So it will pull a vacuum on a system a lot quicker than the other one. So a vacuum pump is a must, unless your employer will provide one. And if you're not going to be changing the oil in your vacuum pumps, then they're not going to last you very long. So here's a jug of oil that you can get for your vacuum pump. If you want to speed up the process, because vacuuming down a system can take a very long time, you can get one of these hoses, vacuum certified refrigerant hoses that really speed up that vacuum process. It'll go down to a vacuum a lot faster with one of these black hoses instead of using the yellow hose on your manifold gauge. So this will speed up the vacuuming process, but it's optional. But having a micron gauge is a must-have. You gotta have a micron gauge to make sure that the unit is pulled down to at least 500 microns and it holds it there. Analog ones are very inaccurate, so you do have to have a digital one. Here's one by CPS, there's one by Testo, or one by UEI. But if you get a micron gauge like this, that only has one port, unlike these two, this one comes with a fitting already, where it has two. This one has a port on either side. It will be helpful to get a T-coupler like this to go with it. And moving on, we have recovery machines. If your employer does not provide a recovery machine is a must-have tool for every HVAC technician, because at one point you are going to have to recover some refrigerant and you're going to have to use a machine like this. The one by Fieldpiece is more expensive, but it is really nice. It has a digital display as well, but this one for $658 works just as well and will get the job done. And over here, we have a bubble leak locator. So if you have a refrigerant leak somewhere, you can spray this stuff on it, and if it starts to bubble, then you know that the leak is there. For only $7, this is a must-have bottle on every HVAC technician's truck. You probably will end up using it at one point or another. They also have electronic leak detectors. I found 3 of them right here that work well. This one over here is for $26, which is really cheap. According to the comments and the reviews, this thing actually works good for 410A and R22. So for $26, that's a steal if you can get a refrigerant leak detector. And one of these is a must-have tool. There's one for $200, which is supposedly better. And then there's one that's ultrasonic. It's an ultrasonic leak detector. If you're a heavy spender, this thing is $625, but it's supposedly the best stuff out there to find a leak with. And here's another handy little tool. It's a natural gas detector. Sometimes soap and bubbles will not work. It's not going to bubble up because the leak is very small, yet you can still smell the natural gas. A detector like that will help you pinpoint the location of the gas leak in the gas pipe or some fitting or wherever it's at. I wouldn't say that this detector is a must-have, but it is recommended. It's a good thing to have. And last but not least, we have an ECM service tool. This is to check ECM motors to see if they are failed or not. And the reason for that is because it's very hard to tell what is bad. Is it the motor itself, or is it the ECM computer module that's on top of the motor? Both of them are very expensive parts, so it's nice to know which one of them is actually bad. So this tester right here tests exactly for that, and it tells you if the motor is bad or if the ECM module is bad. So every HVAC technician should have one of these as well. Whew, finally done going through that whole list of tools. I hope you found this list useful, and if you have any feedback about any of the stuff that you saw, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to mash that like button on the way out, and we'll see you next time. And if you're still here and not in the comment section below, I had a good time travel joke for you, but you didn't like it.